With the turnaround, we've seen Kenya Airways now swinging back to profitability. But maybe you could give us a feel of some of the headwinds that you faced in that period and maybe where you saw the greatest challenge in the first half.
We faced quite a number of things. First of all, you have what recently happened at Westgate, and that did reduce our volumes in terms of passengers. We saw a reduction of about 5.7%. Of course, Egypt in Africa has been a major one. We've stopped operating to Cairo, and not because we feel that our aircrafts are unsafe when they land in Cairo. It's just that we end up transporting air because there are no people going out to Egypt or coming out of Egypt to Nairobi. However, when the situation stabilizes, we will get back to Cairo.
Let's talk about the subdued growth that we've seen globally and also the weakening of the emerging markets. Give us an indication, what impact has this had on the airline?
If you look at the countries that are not producing oil or don't have raw materials and minerals and so forth, we've seen a challenge around there. And then the other challenge is, if you look at Africa, almost every year you have about 2 or 3 elections. And the instability that the election fever brings into our business is quite significant. If you then look at the markets like China and India, which are the markets that we're depending quite a lot on, they're still growing, even though slower than perhaps what we had anticipated. But they're still growing because if you look at what they're doing, say in Africa, they're looking at long-term investments. They're not looking at short-term things. I mean, if they come in to do infrastructure, a road takes a long time to finalize. And a lot of the road network, say in Africa, is now being done by the Chinese. European market, when I look at it, is the one that really has had the longest slowdown. And although we're starting to see a few signs of recovery, it's still a long way off.
And with that regard, let's talk about the cargo business. How did it perform?
Cargo is doing badly, and I couldn't put my hand on what exactly is the cause of this. And this is worldwide. It's not just in Kenya, but worldwide. And that's why you're noticing a lot of international freighters coming into Africa. I mean, we're having about 10 freighters coming into Nairobi daily. And a lot of them are taking advantage of the opportunity to try and get into Africa. But even having said so, we still are noticing that there's a problem in cargo even in Africa. Even in our own selves, if you look at our results, we were lower than last year.
Earlier on, you mentioned that India and China are a key strategy going forward. How is it shaping up in terms of penetration, routes, and what is the outlook for that particular market?
10 years ago, the farthest to the east that we flew was Bombay. Now, as I'm talking right now, we're flying into Bangkok, we're flying into Hong Kong, we're flying into Guangzhou. If we had had enough aircrafts, we would have opened up even more destinations in China. So you can see the impact it has had in the last 10 years. As when you look at Europe, we're only flying into 3 destinations. And now we're flying into 3 destinations in the Far East. So it's quite a significant impact on our business, a positive impact.
If I get you correctly, it sounds the fleet is not growing fast enough to meet your expansion strategy. What are you doing about this?
There are two things that you've got to look at when you look at growth. One is frequencies, and what frequencies do is that they give the customer a good product. Because, for instance, I'll give you an example. When we had one frequency into Johannesburg, it meant that when you left here to go to Johannesburg on business, you have to spend the night in Johannesburg. These days, because you have more frequencies, you can fly out in the morning, very early in the morning, and come back at night. So hence the need to have more frequencies. So when you look at the number of aircraft that we're bringing in, a lot of them are to open up extra frequencies, as I mentioned today. Second angle for the growth is of course opening up new destinations. And what we're looking at first is when we get in the new aircraft that are coming, they're first of all replacing the existing old ones. So 6 for 6. So we're not opening up new routes based on those aircraft that are coming in next year. However, once you get into the year that will follow next year, there'll be another 3 coming in. And that's when we'll start looking at a number of new routes in China.
You did mention in the investor briefing that tenders for the greenfield investment for the airport have not yet been floated, and you did mention that even if they were to be floated, it would take 3 to 4 years, and some analysts have actually said that this is slowing down your expansion. What is your take on that?
It has an impact because if you look at the old airport, I mean, it looked a bad airport. We could not, I said it has got a capacity of 2.5 million passengers, but we were cramming in 5 to 6 million passengers through that particular capacity. And definitely what that happens is that you start knocking one another inside the terminal building. Parking for aircraft was an issue, but now having had the fire, what has happened is that the capacity that is coming in very quickly as a matter of emergency is going to resolve that issue for us for a short period of time. When I say short, between 3 to 4 years. So if we had not had the fire, I think we would have struggled in terms of, first of all, parking the aircraft. That's a major issue. But right now, what they've done is they've increased the parking. In fact, where the temporary terminal is going to be is where the increased parking is going to be. Have you been to the airport recently? You've seen how good the arrivals is. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.